It seems like it's now or never for several veteran Auburn Tigers.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate us. We are joined by Auburn Message Board Legend and the host of the Top Button Podcast, the Charlie5. It's now or never for several Auburn Tigers heading into spring. And we'll discuss 6 total players, maybe more, but definitely 6 going throughout this show because spring is not too far away. But let's start with everybody's favorite position, Charlie5, quarterback. It seems like it's now or never for quarterback Holden Geriner, a guy who has been a fan favorite, a guy who passes the eye test, but whenever he's been put into games, which has been really unfortunate situations to his credit, it seems like he hasn't really taken that next step. And there's a lot of feeling with folks throughout the locker room, folks covering the team, folks within the program, that there's a solid chance that he leaves after this spring, unless he makes a statement, Charlie5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's much of a benefit for him staying if he, feels like he can't beat out Thorne, or if these younger guys start to sort of position themselves to take over that number 2 spot. Right. This is a big spring for him. If it's neck and neck with Thorne, it may be a situation where he would want to stay. If it's not really that close, or he's not a threat to take over. With the way, I mean, he's running out of time. He's got, I guess could technically be a redshirt sophomore going into this next year. Do you go try to get at least 2-3 years somewhere else? It's now or never, I would say.
I think so. And to some folks, because there's a lot of Auburn people that really like Holden Geriner, that's totally okay. But the argument, I guess, for Holden to stay is, well, wherever you go, especially if you transfer after the spring, you're going to have to sit a year behind whoever's there anyway. It'd be a very unique situation for him to go in and start somewhere, unless he transferred down, which I don't think he'll do, and I don't think he should do. But he'd have to sit anyway, so why not sit at Auburn behind Peyton Thorne? The question is he noticeably better a year from now than Hank Brown and Walker White? And I don't think he will be, Charlie5. And so that this is why it's now or never for Holden Geriner.
Yeah, and that kind of speaks to what I said earlier. What is that gap? What is that gap after spring between a White and a Hank Brown and Holden? Is it, if it's close, or if it's something to where you could easily justify moving them ahead, then obviously you can't let that happen if you want to stay at Auburn, and if you're Holden Geriner. So he needs a big spring. I think he's got the skills. Obviously, he's got the talent to be able to do it. There's just no more. The clock is zero. You know what I mean? Like, this is it. This is your last, like, really big push to be able to supplant your I guess your legacy here at Auburn moving forward. It's a big spring.
Yep. All right. So the first guy on our list is Holden Geriner. Who's the guy on your list? Who is it now or never for going into spring?
So this is more so of who all's coming in. You look at the talent that's coming in. This is a now or never year for Camden Brown. Yeah. This is a guy that's been one of those spring legends. It seems like every spring fling, summer workout. All you hear about is Cam Brown, and then he's disappeared ever since he's during the season. So whether it be injury or not being able to get open, get separation, make plays when you've been given one-on-one opportunities, you don't have that luxury of being. You don't have the luxury anymore of just having a not very talented wide receiver room. You have some very, very skilled dudes coming in that will take your job away from you if you're not ready to go this spring. Like, you've got to have a huge spring. You've got to at least show that you are, a capable weapon, because if not, there's no motivation really to not play some of the younger guys and then build there, because you don't have a lot of time left. Camden Brown, you just don't have a lot of time left. So it's a big spring for him. I kind of got him penciled in as, probably this is the most important spring for Camden Brown, maybe more so than anybody.
Yeah, maybe so. And like you said, he'll be a junior this season. And the fact that he didn't hit the portal, I think, says something. I think he wants to be really good at Auburn. I think that's what he wants. And, he put some cryptic things, which I love when players do this. Not sarcastically. I genuinely love it. When they kind of post a message on socials and say they want to work. And there's a lot of videos of him working out and running routes and all that, to which I say, I think you should do this with pads on, because you look great in shorts. You always have. But let's take that next step. Camden Brown. And like you said, the pressure is on him because this coaching staff will have plenty they'll have a longer leash, I think, if they were to start a Perry Thompson opposite Cam Coleman.
Right.
I think if Cam Coleman or Perry Thompson struggle at times, it's like, okay, well, they're freshmen. And then when Cam Brown's out there and it's like, you're not throwing him the football, then I think the voices of public opinion all of a sudden are like, why is he out there? What is he offering that these young guys couldn't? Let's go with the upside. So
exactly. Go build. That's going to be another thing. You got to think of it from a sales perspective too, from the head coach or from the offense. Like, if I feel like we may still not quite be where we need to be, from a output, success, statistical standpoint, that you can say that again. You got a little leeway to say, hey, I'm playing young, we're building. You don't necessarily have that leeway if you're playing Camden Brown. So again, that may motivate you to want to play Perry Thompson or Malcolm Simmons or some of these outside guys more, if the talent is close. You know what I mean? So this is a huge spring for Camden Brown.
Yeah, and then Robert Lewis is a guy that I think is going to get key reps at outside wide receiver. And in fact, right now, if I had to guess who the starting outside receivers are, I'm saying Cam Coleman and Robert Lewis right now. And obviously, Caleb Burton is going to be a factor in this as well. We saw him play inside and outside last year, so he could certainly be a part of that equation too. But it's just this coaching staff has gone out to get guys that they need to put in front of Cam Brown on the depth chart. And props to Cam Brown for responding with, okay, I'm going to work harder instead of entering the portal. Like, we cannot commend him enough for that. I think that's incredible, and I think that's great. And you don't see a lot of that in today's age of college football. So once again, I'm glad Cam Brown is here. He's got to do it. He has to do it at this point.
He's going to give it another go, and he's got to make it happen this spring.
That's right. All right. He's not the only wide receiver on our list where it's now or never, Charlie5. And we discuss in just a moment right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Charlie5, can you imagine wagering on sports anywhere other than FanDuel?
I cannot imagine. I still can't imagine it.
I can't. Hey, they dropped the over-unders for a lot of teams. Auburn is one of them. They put the over-under at 7.5 wins, which is the perfect place to put it. It's the perfect place to put it. But if you're like, hey, Auburn's schedule super favorable for once, like in a decade, they're going to win more than 7 games. Head over to FanDuel, or if you say there's no way they're going to do it. Of course, you can hit the under there, and of course, also for Auburn basketball, for them to win the regular season title, they're at plus 260, which isn't bad. And then for Auburn to reach the Final Four, it's only plus 350. FanDuel likes the Auburn Tigers on the hardwood.
A big Tiger fan.
Let's go. So get in on the action over at FanDuel right now. New customers get about $150, and they get $150 in bonus bets with any 5 winning $5 bet. I didn't read that right. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to shoot your shot. FanDuel's the official sports book partner of the NBA and the Locked On Podcast Network. Charlie5, can you imagine buying Auburn swag anywhere other than Alumni Hall?
Why would you do that?
It doesn't make sense.
Being irresponsible.
It doesn't make sense. You got to do it for the brand. You got to do it for you. Look, it's great that you think about other people, but you deserve the best. And the best is at Alumni Hall. They've got stuff for men, women, children, dogs, put stuff on your walls. They got a fire pit right by the front door, which is cool. I think that's neat. Fire it up. It's chilly outside right now, so go ahead and take advantage of that if that's your thing. They've got three locations in Auburn, Opelika, and Huntsville, or online at alumnihall.com. So be sure to give them some love. Charlie5, the other wide receiver that I think it's now or never for this spring is Coy Moore. Coy Moore transfers to Auburn from LSU and was expected to make to have a big impact in this receiving game. And to his credit, to his defense, as well as a lot of other receivers, I don't think the system was really set up to help Auburn wide receivers over the past few years. I think that's starting to change, which is good. But this is a guy that, like, it wouldn't shock me that I think he graduates at the end of spring. And so if that were the case, it wouldn't shock me for him to use his second transfer if he kind of finds himself buried in the depth chart. So Coy Moore to me is another one. He and Camden Brown, those upperclassmen wide receivers. It's time. It's time for you to figure out a way to make it happen. Or if not, these young guys will. Yeah,
Coy is a mirror situation to Cam Brown. It's the exact same situation. You got guys that they're bringing in. They're going to stack class on class, so it's not going to get any easier. You're going to have young guys coming after you every single year. You don't just have the benefit of, again, just having an empty cupboard. So you got to make it happen. Coy and Camden Brown, like, they could both. I mean, they have talent. Like, they could go. This could push them to go out there and get a spot. Like, you're going to have to fight. And it wouldn't kind of shock me if it was those two duking it out against each other for the spot, if that makes sense. And, whoever's one stays and one leaves, and then they both could leave. But they're very mirror image situations, Coy and Cam Brown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that is certainly a big one that I'm watching there. Who else on the offensive side of the ball do you think could be in this conversation?
So this is not necessarily, I don't think it's a huge threat that he could, leave or whatnot. This is just Jeremiah Wright has been absolutely snake bit his entire time at Auburn.
Yeah.
And this is a time you with bringing in Percy Lewis, you're sliding down Dylan Wade. There's only one guard spot. Okay. So you got to stay healthy. Last year he had a shoulder injury. He was never really healthy, even up until close to the end of the year.
Yeah.
So he feels ready to go. I feel like this is a huge year because this is your final run. You know what I mean? Like, you need to, I think he probably needs to stay at Auburn because I think he's probably our most talented, guy at right guard. But you need to be healthy. You need to have a big spring, get in, get in the playbook, get the reps going, because we need Jeremiah Wright. We need him this fall. Think about that offensive line. If he's where he could be, where he should be, where his talent could take him. I mean, you got Percy Lewis, Dylan Wade, Connor
that right side of the line. If he does what we think he can do, next to Xavier Miller, going into his second season as a starter in the SEC. Yeah. Oh my goodness, run it behind those guys all day.
So it's big to, work hard, stay healthy, and which he has no necessarily control over, but hopefully he can have a healthy spring again, because we need him. It's not so much worried about somebody coming and overtaking him. This is just his last ride. This is your last year of eligibility, and we need it.
So assuming Jeremiah Wright stays healthy, I mean, do you think there's any chance that a Jaden Muskrat or a Dylan Cinda or a Tate Johnson beats him out?
I mean, you never say never, but I feel like he's definitely the ceiling. He's got the highest ceiling of talent right now. Well, for this season, not saying Dylan could get better. Dylan's still got several years left. He could get better. Jaden, he's sort of at that last ride too. So, but I think Jeremiah's just more talented than a Jaden.
Yeah, Muskrat strikes me more of as like a higher floor, lower ceiling type guy.
That's a very, very good description. A very, very good description. But I think if Jeremiah Wright's healthy, he wins this job. And boy, this could be one of your better offensive lines you've seen at Auburn in quite a while.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I love the depth involved with it too. We're getting a little off topic here, but even with a guy like Percy Lewis coming in from Mississippi State, it's like, I mean, God forbid, hopefully nothing ever happens to him, but like Seth Wilfred, I think like if that's your backup option at tackle, like
JUCO All-American,
yeah,
first team.
It's just like the best situation we've had at offensive line, like since I can remember.
Yeah, easily since maybe as far back as like 2017. Like this is a very, very talented offensive line, and there's options. It's not like you got the front line and you just hoping like hell nobody gets injured.
Which I think we've been in that situation before. It's like, okay, I think the starting five is fine, but then one will get hurt because it's offensive linemen and it's the SEC and that happens. But now, we saw that happen a year ago, and we were just kind of lucky that the guys that went down were at position groups where there was depth, specifically center. It's like, okay, thank good. Like Connor Lew's good, but if that would have had it happen at tackle last year, I don't know if that would have turned out as well. So exactly. This year, like you feel good about the 2 deep pretty much across the board. There's 8 or 9 guys that I feel comfortable seeing on the field. You texted me one other name on the offensive side of the ball that I disagreed with a little bit, so I wasn't super eager to put into the show, but now I want to hear your argument, if you don't mind sharing that one.
Yeah, so I assume you're talking about Micah Riley Ducker?
Yep.
Okay, so
which I believe it's Micah Riley.
Micah Riley. Okay, so he has a lot of older guys in front of him, okay? And then you brought in a transfer that sort of seems like he's going to be the new receiving threat moving forward. So it's not so much this is not so much of a I don't see the path. I guess I don't necessarily see the path to the field this year. So if he doesn't have a huge spring and he doesn't feel like he can at least maybe see the field some, or could he lead? Could he go try to see, playing time immediately? Because it may just be a whole nother year of him sort of sitting and getting some garbage time. And that'd be 3 years in a row. Like that's gotta be frustrating. It's not so much that if he were to just stay one more year, there's not a lot of competition. But again, that's staying a whole nother season. So I think this is a big spring for him because I think he's got the talent to be a dual threat, a guy that can block and a guy that can catch, at tight end. So I think he needs to be able to get on the field this year. I think he needs to beat out Brandon Frazier or beat out Luke Deal. I think this is a huge deal. No pun intended. This spring's a huge deal for him. Because again, if you don't, you are sitting out a whole nother year, and now you don't have necessarily any competition, but you just don't have a lot of time left, I guess.
So you mentioned the transfer they brought in that we assume is going to be more of a receiving tight end in the future. That is Rico Walker, the tight end from Maryland. And I think they're the same class, confirming they're both sophomores, but Micah Riley is redshirted. I think that's correct.
Yes.
And so they've got the same amount of eligibility left, unless Rico Walker redshirts this year, which could totally happen. But this staff has to like the upside of Micah Riley more than Rico Walker. I just have a hard time buying that they like Rico Walker more than Micah Riley. So that's why I'm pushing back a little bit. I have a hard time seeing a world where he's not the Rivaldo Fairweather role next year, in the sense of like the receiving tight end. I'm not talking about the Rivaldo Fairweather role of also being a wide receiver. I don't think he can do that, but you won't need him to next season in 2025 because you're going to have a bunch of just human cyborgs on the outside where you're not going to need a guy like Rivaldo or Micah Riley to do that. I'm trying to find how many snaps he played, because in my brain, he played 112 snaps this past season.
Yeah.
And I do think the overall snap counts for tight ends is going to go down, because like Brandon Frazier played 241, Rivaldo played 589, but that's skewed because he played a lot of receiver too. Luke Deal played 254. Fromm played 151. But I'm guessing
he could take Fromm snaps.
He could take Fromm
that could help
snaps
a little bit
for one. But I'm assuming we're going to see less 2 tight end sets this year. I think we're going to see fewer.
Which hurts. Which puts even more premium. Another one of the reasons that I'm putting him on the list is because you and I both had a little bit of intel that he was a risk to go to the portal possibly in December. So something about the situation he's not he is not 100% either crazy about or comfortable with. So that's why I think this is a big spring for him as far as let's see where I shake out. I need to get some more snaps. I want to get some more snaps. I probably can find some playing time elsewhere, but I want to be here at Auburn.
Yeah. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Grant Hidalgo had 8 snaps.
Hidalgo.
Huge.
Absolutely.
Huge part of the story. 100%.
First time I've ever heard that name in my life.
That's not true.
No offense.
That's not true. All right.
What number is he? Guess right now without looking.
Oh, I can't. I can't.
You lose.
Do you want to guess? I found it.
83.
It's a great tight end number. 47.
Oh,
47. There we go.
Of course.
This is a Grant Hidalgo podcast. All right. As far as now or never springs, we got to highlight the linebacker room. We have to.
Yes.
We discuss in just a moment right here on Locked On Auburn. Charlie5, can you imagine buying your auto parts from anywhere other than eBay Motors?
Absolutely not. The right parts, the right fit, the right prices.
Why would you go anywhere in person when you can just get them shipped right to your door and you know they're going to fit your car because of the eBay guaranteed fit?
Freshly ground the night before. I'm sorry, that's a different one. But yeah, that could be the part.
Yep,
could be shipped straight to your door. Exactly. Why would you want to go to anywhere else?
Yep. You almost did it again. I'm glad you didn't. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car to the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers.
America.
All right, Charlie5. It's now or never for Wesley Steiner.
Oh man, yep, you're right.
I keep being surprised when I look at the roster and he's still here, which once again, I think it's great. Like you'd rather have him as a late, depth piece than not. But like if he's going to have any sort of role on this team at Auburn, like this is it. It is now or never for linebacker Wesley Steiner.
I mean, it is literally now or never because this is it. I mean, he has no more eligibility.
This is his 10th year at Auburn.
He's just been here just a shade under a decade. And
he played with Bo Jackson, right?
I think he was a holder at one point in time for Aldo Greco. No, he's been here a while. Props to him. Look.
Yeah, he must like it here. He must like it here.
He loves it here. He must love it here. It says a lot that he stayed. He's shown. I mean, there's been times where he's been effective. This is it, though. You got it. This is it. You have no other options but to succeed this year, or you just don't play because they're going to be itching to get DeMarcus Riddick on the field, so DJ guys. Barber on the field. They're going to be itching to get these guys on the field. So you got to make it happen. Yeah,
then obviously Eugene Asante and Austin Keys coming back. You brought in Dorian Mausi from Duke, who's played a ton of football. Like this is a loaded room, and I just don't see how Wesley Steiner's really part of it.
Where's the path to playing time? I don't know.
I'm with you.
Mausi just automatically is going to become your number 3. Maybe you could.
I think he's number 2.
Number 2 and a half.
Asante Mausi. I think he hops Keys.
Okay. Well, I mean, 2.5, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. Those could be interchangeable, but so where do you come in? I mean, do we have a whole lot of formations where you're going to have more than 2 linebackers out there? Like,
I hope not.
I hope not either. It's going to be very limited options, and he's got to make something happen this spring. And, he has unbelievable.
Say it. Say what I want you to say. Say it.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Go ahead. I think you're about to say it.
No, I don't. I really don't. I have no idea.
I think we should. I think they should try him at Jack.
Try him at Jack. Yeah, he does have. He's tests. He has great testing numbers. He's always had great testing numbers.
He moves so well, and like Owen Papo broke all of those records as far as like athletic spark scoring or whatever it is. And then he went in and broke it the next year. We're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have these two guys playing linebacker next to each other. And then obviously Owen worked out, but Wesley has kind of lagged behind. He's so athletic and he moves so well and he passes the eye test. I mean, you and I've seen him at practice and such. But to be that athletic and to move so well, but you're so like, he's just not good in coverage. And so I'd be okay with him being the third or fourth jack on this team. I think it'd be better than him being the seventh linebacker.
Just put him in some situations where he can just pin his ears back and go. And like, we're not having to read and react and fill a gap. We're just literally go get the ball. I would like to, that could be his specialty.
If he like reignited his career at Auburn as a jack linebacker and edge rusher, whatever they're going to call it in this new defense, we can call him the Frankensteiner.
The Frankensteiner. Okay. Wesley Steiner, you rebuilt, retooled. He is alive.
He's alive.
Let's
go. All right. Who's the other linebacker? And this is a very interesting one too, because of the timing.
Yeah. So again, this is a lot similar to the Camden Browns. He's got multiple years left, but there's such talented dudes coming in behind him, and they're just going to piggyback that with more coming in behind him in
Powell Gordon
in the 2025 class. No, it's not Powell Gordon. It's Robert Woodyard. Woodyard, who was the marquee signee of, I guess, Brian Harson's career. Rivals 100. Rivals 100 linebacker. He's a redshirt sophomore this year. He's a big linebacker. Like, he's got good size. Looks amazing in pads. This is a big year, buddy. This is a huge year for Robert Woodyard.
You just called him buddy?
Yeah. This is a huge
Do you know year. Robert Woodyard personally? Are you his buddy?
No, he probably hates me. He probably hates my.
He probably does now because you called him buddy.
It's true, but I mean it in a very affectionate way. Like,
do you want to apologize? Because I'm not going to edit it out.
Absolutely.
But if you want to apologize, you can.
There's no reason to apologize. It's a term of endearment. I'm pulling for him. I love Mobile kids. I want Auburn to be full of mean Mobile kids that want to make it happen. This is a huge spring for him because there's a dude from Chilton County and a dude from Clay Chalkville that are going to be chomping at the bit to take your spot. You need to assert yourself this spring. You got the size, the measurables, all the athletic tools to be able to do it. Got to do it this spring.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments down below. Was Charlie5's use of buddy there socially acceptable? I'm genuinely curious. But you're right, though, because it's like they gave not Wesley Stein. It's like they gave Robert Woodyard as many chances as possible to step up last spring. And that was kind of the story of the linebacker group last year, was nobody really wanted it. And then eventually, obviously, Eugene Asante took over. But can he do it? It sounded like he was a half step too slow as far as reaction time. Can he fix that in a year? And you totally can. You totally can fix that in a year. We'll see if he does.
Yep, gotta have it. I love having conversations about guys that there's much better. You got depth. You know what? You're worried about where do I fit on the depth chart, and you're starting to sort of fill up these positions and fill up these position battles. And it's a whole lot better than you got one guy, and if he gets hurt, you're screwed type situation. Yeah,
the linebacker room is silly. It is silly.
It's great.
How great it is. Right. It's also silly how great you are. What all you got going on?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at _Charlie_5. The Top Button Podcast. Been having a blast doing it every Tuesday and Thursday. And then you can catch me on Wednesdays on the Dad Bod Golf Pod.
Yeah, be sure to check it all out for sure. Links to the Top Button Podcast are in the episode description down below. It's under the Auburn Daily YouTube page. It's also just search the Top Button Podcast, however you listen to podcasts. Find all my written work at auburndaily.com, and we will see you tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.